Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. Here we are closing in on the end of the year. Pretty soon, you got to be thinking about your tax returns, maybe your 1099s if you're a business owner, and maybe, just maybe, you might be thinking of maybe changing up your financial situation as we enter 2025. Think about it. You spend the better part of your life working, accruing income, and are you really set up financially? Sound financial plan. That's what we're going to talk about today with somebody who's got more than 3 decades of experience with taxes, with financial services, even wills and estate planning. And he is our professional of the year. His company is Jacques Financial. Jacques joins us here on the program. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. I wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, and Hanukkah. So it's a wonderful time of year.
All the same to you and your family, and also a good time of year to think about 2025 and what you got coming up in terms of finances. And this doesn't matter whether you're employed by somebody, you own a company, you're responsible for a team. What are you hearing nowadays? Financially, I'm referencing this in a financial angle. Well, what do you hear from your clients lately?
Well, the biggest thing I hear from my clients is that they're worried about their financial security. They're worried about someday, can they retire? Can they send their kids to college? What are the different things they need to do to basically accomplish this peace of mind or financial security to accomplish their goals and objectives?
Is it prudent to even start thinking about your taxes now? Like a lot of people wait until a couple of days before April 15th. Is it something right after the start of the year you really should start digging into?
Well, right now is an excellent time to review your tax situation because there's a lot of things you can still do to save on taxes. If you haven't maxed out your 401k plans at work, your next paycheck, you can divert a lot of it for that to be able to get a deduction, which is like one of the best ways to save for retirement. If, let's say, you have losses, this would be a good time to maybe sell your losses. If you have gains, you have losses, they offset each other. You can save money there. So if you just have gains, but you have losses on the books, this is a way of netting those out to save taxes. So there's a lot of different ways of, even at this last minute, to maximize and save on your taxes.
I'm going to admit to you, I'm somewhat financially illiterate, so that's where I come from. So I'm being fully transparent here. I was thinking about getting my taxes done early this year, and somebody told me that you really can't because the IRS hasn't even put out forms or anything, and it's probably not going to be at least until February before you can really get them finished. Is that true?
That's correct. Last year in 23, I don't think the IRS was accepting electronic filing forms until like the second week of February.
Wow.
So again, even their computers and everything are trying to get up to speed. But in January, it's a good time to, get all your 1099s that you receive in the mail all together and start preparing because right after February, right after the beginning of February, if you're due a refund and you file it electronically, you can get that back within about 10 days. So there's no reason to leave the government hold all your money until April 15th or longer. If you're entitled to a refund. Now, if you're owing money, as long as you're not in a penalty position, you would want to wait until the end of tax season to file. But if you're entitled to a refund, you want to jump on that as quickly as possible.
Show me the money.
That's right.
Final question on that, and just for clarity, is it that the IRS is not accepting, or you can't even fill out the forms because the forms and or formulas change from year to year?
The forms change, and and each year there's subtle changes to the tax law. But the forms are usually available, in early January. So the forms are available pretty much right after the beginning of the year. It's the fact that you can't file electronically. Now, you could file a paper copy. There's still a lot of people that file paper copies. The IRS doesn't want you to file a paper copy because economically it's much more efficient to file electronically. And the IRS has ways that you can file free through their system if you make a lower income level, but you can then go to different tax services and get them to file electronically. Much more efficient way of doing it. But that they won't accept electronic filing until probably the second week of February.
So you're always plugged in and monitoring the ever-changing tax laws to make sure that your clients get the most. What has changed in terms of tax law, let's say in the last year, maybe two, that you feel is very impactful?
Well, what's going to be the real impactful way, this year there hasn't been a lot of changes except basically inflationary increases, like your 401k plan, that if you're over 50, you can contribute. In 24, you were able to contribute $30,500. In 25, you'll be able to contribute $31,000. So usually, if you're an employee, you have to make that designation at the beginning of January to make sure that you maximize on your 401k plan contribution. So little things like cost of living increases have changed. The big change that we're going to see the end of 25 is that when Trump was in office last time, he had passed a massive tax reduction bill. But because that was costing the government so much money, they didn't make it permanent. They made it so it sunsetted at the end of 25. So everything, the higher tax rates, if Congress doesn't make any changes, will go back to a much higher tax rate in the beginning of 26, and it will just be a chaotic situation. So I'm hoping that Congress really focuses on tax law this year to make a lot of those good parts of the tax reduction bill that President Trump passed permanent. So we'll see what happens. I think there's going to be a lot of politics in that, which there is in any situation. But for 25, not a lot of changes except cost of living increases. But 26 is really where the big change could happen.
Joe, what did you say? I'm kidding. This is why you hire a qualified, trained professional to take care of all of us. So had a conversation the other day with a colleague of mine, and he's got an LLC, and he's thinking about making it a corporation so he can pull a W-2. He's a sole proprietor, okay? Has people work on his team, but they're vendors, and he's considering making this change. There's a number of different reasons why he should or wants to have a W-2. Are there advantages in switching from an LLC to, let's say, a corporation with one person?
Well, I think the payroll, I think the earnings of the company will dictate that. If there's just a small amount of earnings, be it a sole proprietorship or a sole proprietorship LLC, an LLC just means that you have put a certain amount of protection against your personal assets, against your business assets. So if something happens in your business with an LLC, they can't go against personal assets. So an LLC is always an excellent idea. But you can then also form a corporation, a partnership, and a corporation can be a regular corporation or what they call an S corporation, which is for monies that kind of flow into your individual tax return. I know this sounds so much more detailed than you really wanted to understand, but the best thing is that if you're a business, you should be an LLC, whether you're a sole proprietorship or a corporation, and your person is correct in that if he forms a corporation, whether it's a a C corporation or an S corporation, he can start drawing a paycheck. But again, as I said, usually you don't form those type of corporations inside an LLC unless you're maximizing on your pension plans along those lines. So you pretty much don't want to do it if you just have, $50,000, $60,000 of income. You really have to have a corporation that's generating, a couple of $100,000 to make it really worthwhile.
Gotcha. And you answered the question that was coming, the last one that you answered in terms of the income. Final question on that. When you say generating an income, are we talking gross or the actual income for the individual?
Well, it would be, it depends on the type of entity you have, because if you're a sole proprietorship, whatever your net income is after you take your income minus your expenses, whatever your net income is what a sole proprietorship pays taxes on. And that's a nice formula to figure out. So I would say for the most part, it's your net income, whether you're talking about a corporation or a sole proprietorship.
So let's say ballparking this, if somebody was making, they're claiming, I don't know, $150K out of the LLC, would that be prudent to turn it into a corporation?
It depends on whether he's contributing to a pension plan or not. I think the pension plan is the key to answer that question.
Okay.
To me, I would say yes, because he would then pay Social Security on up to the Social Security limit, but then he could avoid, like with an S corporation, you could avoid basically paying payroll taxes on a lot of the income. So that's why people do S corporations, because they pay themselves a certain amount to basically fund pension plans, and then everything above that amount that they pay themselves, they can avoid Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes on the rest of their income by doing that. So the S corporation has always been a wonderful loophole for higher income people. Congress has many times talked about changing it, but so far it's still under law, and a lot of people take advantage of that loophole.
Wow. Okay. I thought I heard you say that you could, if you had an LLC, you could also make it an S corp. Did I hear that incorrect?
Yes, an LLC can be. You can have an LLC sole proprietorship. You can have an LLC S corp. You can have an LLC C corp, which is a regular corporation.
Got it.
And you could even have an LLC partnership. So an LLC is just the legalese to protect your personal assets from your business assets.
Appreciate all the insight. You truly, Joe, you know your stuff. It's amazing. What about retirement? Now we're talking about that. There's a lot of people wrestle with what age to take Social Security. Your thought, obviously, the younger you are, the less you're going to get. But what are your thoughts about retirement and Social Security?
I say tongue-in-cheek to my clients when they ask me that question. I said, tell me when you're going to die, and I'll tell you when to take Social Security. Right. Again, tongue-in-cheek. Basically, so it depends on a lot of different factors. Basically, most people, it's unbelievable, most people that retire early will take their Social Security as early as they can because of one fact: they need the money. So they take it as early as they can. The normal Social Security age right now is, for the most people, is 67. There might be some that is like 66 and a half or 66 and 10 months, but the majority of people right now, it's about 67. And that is your full Social Security thing. You get your maximum benefit under your normal Social Security benefits. If you take it early, for every year you take it early, and you can start as early as 62, you get a 5% haircut for every year you take it early. So if you take it at 62 and your normal age is 67, you would take a 5% a 5-year haircut are roughly about 25%, which is significant. So usually I ask all my clients that I want them to at least wait until Social Security age, because there's a lot of advantage to that too. If you take Social Security early, you're limited on how much you can earn. But once you reach normal Social Security age, let's say at 67, you could make $1 million after that, and it doesn't affect your benefits. But for people that are, pretty much still continuing to work, or basically have other resources to live on, for after your normal Social Security age, for every year you delay taking Social Security up to age 70, you get an extra 8% increase on your Social Security benefits. So to me, I'm still working, so I elected to wait until I was 70 years old, and I increased my benefits tremendously by waiting until 70. But, you have to look at longevity in your family. You have to look at, do you need the income to live on? If you're working and haven't collected Social Security, I would wait. But if you retire and at 67, I'd usually recommend taking it.
Now, when you said that you personally, I think you said elect to take it at 70, was there any pre-planning, or you're just in your mind, yeah, I'm going to make 70 the time I'm going to do it?
Well, I was still continuing to work. So right now I'm over 70.
Okay.
So basically,
that answers that.
That's right. So I was there's no benefit to wait after 70.
Gotcha.
70, it's all the additional incentives stop. So there's no reason to wait after 70. So my normal retirement age was 66. I'm still continuing to work. So I elected to delay it 4 years, get an extra 24% on my Social Security benefits, to maximize that. So it's a great plan if you continue to work and don't need the money.
Sure.
But if you retire and need the money, you take the money and run.
Oh, of course. And if you are still working and you passed 70, why wouldn't you take it?
Well, there's no reason not to, because
Right.
there's no additional benefits to delay it after 70.
So loaded question here, and this is a pure opinion, and not holding you to this at all, but I just want your vibe and your feeling. A lot of people concerned that Social Security is going away at some point. What's your overall gut tell you right now? And again, moving target, so many variables, but just in general, how do you feel?
Well, let's look at it. Is when Social Security was passed back in the, early days, I think in the, the 20s or 30s when Social Security was originally passed, they picked age 65 as the retirement age because nobody lived that long. So back then, for every person that was retired and collecting Social Security, there were 20 people working to support that person. Now, with the baby boomers and everything coming through, the odds are for every person retired, there's only 2 people working supporting them. So something has to definitely change, because the system is only projected to last for about another 10 years without running out of money. So what I believe is going to happen is that anybody that probably is over age 50, I think their benefits are fine. I don't think there's going to be any changes. But if you're under 50 and that number might go lower, there's going to be some changes. And what I feel the changes are going to be is right now you only pay taxes for Social Security on roughly about $168,000 of your earnings. You don't get hit with Social Security for wages over, let's say, $168,000. Where Medicare, you pay taxes on your total wages. So what I think is one of the things they're going to change is they're going to tremendously increase the amount of wages that you pay Social Security on. I think it's going to go up to at least $400,000, if not on all wages. So that's one of the changes which will generate a lot more money. The second change is I feel they're going to increase the retirement age from 67 to 70. That's another change that will save a lot of money. So these are a couple of things that I think they must do to strengthen the system. But I feel very confident that if somebody's at least 50 years or older, the system, you won't lose Social Security benefits. You're going to be totally fine.
Got it. Well, thank you for that. And reassured a lot of people, I'm sure, in hearing that, because I'm over 50 and I'm hearing, just wondering, and people are, you hear it.
And the main reason I say that is that the Gray Panthers, when they start getting gray hair, they vote. So if you see congressmen voting to change your benefits, those guys are going to be voted out of office immediately. So that's job security for them. They know that they vote to change Social Security for the Gray Panthers. They're going to be voted out of office immediately. So that's why if they're going to change, they're going to change for the younger generation. Those people are not really thinking about Social Security, and it's not that big an issue for them. But for the older people, 50 or older, they're definitely thinking about retirement, and they do vote.
What a consideration that is. And thank you for putting that into perspective, Joe. Says a lot. And I don't want to put you on the spot in asking that question, but, based on your insight there, wow, truly appreciate it. How does somebody work with you? If they want to engage you, do they just go to your website, start a conversation, talk about what they're looking to achieve?
Yeah, my business, I specialize in income tax preparation for individuals, and then I work with those same individuals from a financial planning and wealth accumulation phase. So I try to help my clients work both from saving taxes and securing financial security. And so you get me through my website, which is jacksfinancial.com, and Jacques is spelled JACQUES financial.com. Or you can call our office. Our office number is 301-738-1303.
Truly appreciate talking with you today. It shows more than 3 decades of experience in everything that we talked about. You have the answers and the knowledge and the experience. And that's what somebody wants in their life savings. There's a lot on the line here, especially as you head into retirement. Joe, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for having us. And again, I wish everybody a very happy holiday.
And same right back to you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education
And to finish what I started to get my diploma.
just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.